I'm Dan Rivers in Bangkok, and it is the auto industry and the manufacturing industries, particularly those that are reliant on exports, which are bearing the brunt of this recession. For example, the General Motors plant here had suspended production for 3 months. It's now started again, but almost immediately they're talking again about ceasing producing cars temporarily. They've already laid off some 1,200 workers, another 1,600 jobs are hanging in the balance. And that's just one company. This story is being repeated across the country. Unemployment at the moment stands at 500,000, but they're already talking about that tripling over the next year.
I'm Emily Chang on a roadside in Beijing. All of these trucks are parked here waiting for work. They normally haul construction supplies from one place to another. But since the beginning of winter, these truck drivers tell us demand has slowed down dramatically. Most of these truck drivers are migrant workers, the group hardest hit by the economic crisis. The Chinese government officially claims about 20 million migrant workers are unemployed, but some experts believe that number is more like 30 million. China has said it wants to maintain unemployment at about 4.6%, but again, some experts believe it's actually more like 10%.
I'm Anjali Rao in India's business capital, Mumbai. Name a major industry here and it's almost certainly suffering the effects of the global economic downturn. Everything from autos, steel, real estate, textiles and petrochemicals. India's economy had been booming, but as the downturn deepens, demand for Indian exports diminishes, and that's leading to fewer jobs. In the last quarter of 2008, this country lost 500,000 jobs, bringing the unemployment rate for the entire year to 6.8%. And the situation is only likely to get worse as the number of jobs available shrinks, the number of those looking for work is on the rise. Keep in mind, some 14 million new workers enter the Indian market every year.
I'm Jim Bolden in London. 3 sectors of the British economy are being particularly hit hard: housing, banking, and manufacturing. House prices fell hard in February and are now down around 20% compared to the peak of August 2007. In banking, 2 big banks and this mortgage lender have had to be rescued by the government. In manufacturing, there are worries some 140,000 jobs will go on factory floors. The auto sector is being hit particularly hard, and that's one big reason why unemployment is now over 6% at a 12-year high.
I'm Matthew Chance in Moscow. The global economic storm has battered few countries harder than Russia. Just 6 months ago, this was one of the world's fastest growing economies. Now, official estimates put the number of unemployed and looking for work at over 6 million people. And that figure is rising fast as more companies across this vast country close down. It's Russia's mining industry, its steel works, its auto manufacturing and its chemical plants that are being hardest hit.
I'm in in Johannesburg, South Africa, where the car industry has been among the hardest hit in this global economic downturn. Now, car dealerships are talking about a drop in sales of up to 70%. Now here, the debate rages on about whether South Africa is in a recession or not. The government says technically the country is not in a recession, but analysts warn that the economy is under immense stress, with some of South Africa's main trading partners, such as Britain and the United States, in a recession. Exports fell in January by more than 25%, widening the trade deficit to a record $1.7 billion here in South Africa. Now, what does this mean for the average man on the street? It means almost certainly job losses. The latest employment figures show that South Africa created nearly 200,000 jobs in the last quarter of 2008. But economists here say that that is probably because job losses were announced but had not yet been effected. The good news, however, is that in this current credit crunch, South Africa's banking sector remains solid.
I'm Ben Wiedemann in Jerusalem. This is this city's high-speed train system in the making. Until recently, it was a symbol of Israel's rapid economic growth. Over the last 5 years, this small country has posted annual GDP gains of nearly 5% a year, fueled by high-tech and agricultural exports and bolstered by a strong and well-regulated banking system. Initially, Israel was spared much much of the pain of the global economic meltdown, that's beginning to change. Unemployment is on the rise, tax revenues are plummeting, and 2009 looks like it's going to be a year of zero economic growth. Big projects like this train system seem to be slowing down as the money to pay for them dries up. Israel is looking at hard times ahead. I'm Ben Wiedemann, CNN, reporting from Jerusalem.